everyone, this is Mr. Sasser and I'm here today to do Hunter x Hunter chapter 354 review. And I'm doing this review from my car because I'm out of town, and unfortunately this is the only free time I can afford to dedicate to this review. But let me not babble on, let me just get into this chapter, because this chapter, there is a lot of dialogue in it, but the dialogue is not worth mentioning. I mean, it really isn't, because it's mainly stipulation of what was stated in the previous chapters, so I won't mention again everything that Kurolo does. But the main gist of the chapter is that Hisoka is kind of trapped right now. He's using his bungee gum and his ability. I mean, the biggest ace that Hisoka has is his brain and the capacity to calculate all the possibilities in an instant, because he calculates all the different variables while he is fighting and while he is planning an attack strategy. So he's fighting, he's pairing the dolls, and he's formulating his next steps, and also he's thinking about what Kurolo will do. So that's very hard to do. And I was absolutely right at the last chapter, when I said that the hit that Hisoka gave Kurolo is not to be taken lightly, because he hit Kurolo pretty hard with that head. And it was like Togashi heard me, because the first page of this chapter is like the head of an adult male weighs approximately 7 to 8 kilograms, which is more than your average bowling ball. And with the bungee gum elasticity, when Hisoka actually hit Kurolo, that was a pretty hard hit. And that's what Togashi wants to emphasize here in the first page of this chapter. But the main thing that Hisoka wants to do is kill all the puppets except one. Keep one last puppet, because Kurolo cannot create more puppets as long as these puppets are in play, because he has to release the CL and go to gallery fake again if he wants to create more puppets. And if he keeps one puppet alive, then he will know if Kurolo releases the CL, the black CL, and goes to gallery fake to create more puppets. If he doesn't do that, then he's using convert hands, and so Hisoka kind of limits Kurolo's abilities. But because Kurolo's abilities, even though there are many abilities, they are based on a hit and run tactic and a concealed tactic. So if he can no longer be concealed, then he will give up his strategy. And that's why Hisoka is on top at this point, because he thinks of every conceivable angle and he exploits that. And by doing that, he actually manages to find Kurolo in the crowd, and he attacks him, and he is actually able to use the crowd, because Hisoka attached bungee gum to all of the crowd in the stadium, and he pulls some guys and he hits Kurolo from different sides, because the crowd is everywhere around Kurolo, and he hits Kurolo from all the sides. Kurolo cannot escape, and Hisoka manages to attach a bungee gum to his leg, and once he attaches a bungee gum to his leg, Kurolo is done for, because he can no longer escape, he can no longer hide from Hisoka, and Hisoka actually kills him. Of course, it turns out not to be the actual Kurolo, because he was using the convert hands, and I think it was the convert hands, and he switched body with somebody else. So now he must find Kurolo when he looks like somebody else, which is a bit tricky. And at the end of the chapter, Hisoka realizes something, and the way I see it is that when he releases gallery fake, some objects disappear. The objects he creates with gallery fake would disappear. I think it's so. But if he puts the sun and moon seals on the puppets, then even though he will release gallery fake, the puppets will still be there, because the sun and moon seals do not disappear unless they are blown off. And because of that property, the property that of Gallery Fake gets overwritten, and the puppet still stayed there even though he closed his book and he's no longer at Gallery Fake, which would imply that Kuroro is using a strategy where Hisoka didn't think about. He didn't think about the sun and the moon sigil, and right now he has to not overthink, to rethink his entire strategy. Hisoka has to rethink his entire strategy because there was a variable he didn't took into account, and that's the end of the chapter. So the chapter is pretty self-evident. I don't know what else to say. I'm waiting for the next chapter because I want to see who the winner is in this case. So rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a nice day.
Any rational society would either kill me or put me to some use.